I feel I should say this before you try and cut into my carotid artery, that this is not me saying I don't like Ned Luke. I have a ton of respect for him and everything he's done. And yeah, he's just a great guy overall, so please don't try and murder me. I'm gonna kill you! Ned Luke is the most active in terms of all the GTA 5 voice actors in the online community.
I like Michael. Michael's my man. There goes Michael right there. Michael, kill that motherfucker, Michael.
Meaning he said the most stuff and been wrong the most.
So this is what it's like to be you?
Not really, honey. See, I'm a semi-successful crook. You're a bit of a failure, but hey, kudos for trying.
Not that successful if you're in witness protection.
No! So, in case you don't know, Ned Luke genuinely believes that the good ending of the game is ending A. He thinks that's the one that makes the most sense. And that the Michael ending makes silly sense. Now sure, a lot of this, and I mean a lot of this, can be interpreted as sarcasm and jokes and stuff, but
ha!
Clearly, he genuinely does believe this. Like he has said multiple times, he genuinely believes that ending A is the correct ending to the game, and only followed by ending C. Whereas that is just simply showing a clear lack of understanding of the story of the game. But I get it, just because he's a voice actor for the game does not mean he understands the game as well as people like me who actually care about the lore a lot more than Ned Luke does.
I got nothing! No one gives a fuck about me!
I do.
Why would he care?
Why the fuck would I care?
You know, but he seems like he tries to talk about it, but he is just so wrong most of the time. And it's sure a lot of it is joking, but his main point about GTA 5 story is that ending A is the best ending, the most realistic, and it's just utter nonsense. I'm gonna give you my opinion on this. Personally, I feel that in the context of the game and the lore and the story and all that, the ending C is clearly the obvious and most realistic choices. Why they are completely capable and have been shown as completely capable throughout the entire game of killing a ton of people very easily. So why would they not do that one more time to be free than kill someone who's also capable of doing that exact same thing, if not better than Franklin? Cause
Franklin made the only logical choice, which was to use the awesome power of friendship to solve his problems. Very good, Franklin. Makes me wonder why you'd even consider killing your friends and mentors to begin with, especially considering all you've accomplished together. It doesn't really make any sense, does it?
both Michael and Trevor are way better at killing people than Franklin is. Franklin might kill the most people throughout the story, but Franklin is not as good at killing people as Michael and Trevor is. However, if ending C was taken out of the picture, okay? So let's assume that ending C was not an ending and it was just ending A and ending B. Then clearly the obvious choice is ending B. Because why would Steve of all people protect Franklin? Why would Steve protect Franklin when he could just turn him and he could turn in Michael? Why wouldn't he just do that? You think Dave saying he can spin to Steve that Michael's controllable? Steve changes what he thinks on a dime without telling Dave constantly throughout the story. Steve doesn't care what Dave says. So why would he care now? Why wouldn't he just turn in Michael and Franklin and be like, hey, these two, they're very, very powerful criminals, and this is Michael Townley. It's Michael Townley. Why would he not just turn him in, seeing him as uncontrollable? Sure, he can be spun that Michael's controllable, but does Steve really believe that Michael won't just kill him? you know. However, Devin, on the other hand, while still not a very trustable source, is definitely way more likely to protect Franklin than Steve is. Because Devin, it makes more sense why he would, because Devin doesn't have to do much to protect Franklin. All he has to do is say, hey, you see that Franklin guy? Yeah, just make sure nothing bad happens to him. That's all he has to say to, like, one guy, and then it's done. Franklin is never going to jail for the rest of his life, and he's going to be rich. So, basically, canonically, ending A makes 0 sense. When you think about it for more than 2 seconds, ending A makes literally no sense whatsoever. It makes 0 sense to kill Trevor.
What I need is for you to climb down out of my ass.
Some of you might be thinking, but why wouldn't Trevor just go and kill Franklin for killing Michael? Because Trevor, that goes against everything Trevor is. That's the reason Trevor doesn't like Franklin. It's because he kills Michael and is a traitor to him. Why would Trevor then kill Franklin? He couldn't bring himself to kill Franklin. He literally says on Fresh Meat that he loves Franklin.
Look, I love you, right? But I would have just...
Look!
He couldn't bring himself to kill Franklin. Nor would it work with his ideology. Because no matter what Franklin does, in some way he would still be betraying him. Basically, there is no world in which ending A is the best, most logical ending to choose, and yet Ned Luke, the voice actor for Michael, who really should probably be a bit careful in what he says, considering a lot of people will take it as fact, says that it is. Sure, he says it's in his opinion, right? I get it. You need to take your own opinion, but some people don't do that. Some people just listen blindly, and sure, that isn't Ned Luke's fault. I get that. That is entirely whoever chooses to just blindly believe the people they like and what they say. But still, it stuns me how a voice actor for a video game can understand a story so badly that he believes that the least likely, least realistic, and least logical ending is the most logical and the correct ending. He also thinks that the most realistic in a real world scenario, if they somehow, by some miracle, did not get caught. By the way, Michael would have been caught in Friend Request. He's caught. He left forensic evidence and a backpack everywhere. He left every single bit of evidence he could everywhere. So realistically, they're all getting caught by within the first 20 missions of the game. But saying even if they somehow by some miracle did not get caught by the utter stupidity of the LSPD, then still, Franklin killing Michael is the most realistic ending in a real world scenario. Because trusting a rich billionaire is not ideal, but trusting a corrupt FIB agent is less ideal. Someone who you can't even guarantee has the power to protect you in the first place. Who you don't know if you can trust to protect you, because you can't. Because they're most likely going to turn you and your friend in. However, Devin, on the other hand, still not super likely, but is definitely more likely than Steve to actually protect Franklin, because he can do it a lot easier. This is a problem. Ned Luke has a fundamental flaw of understanding the game's story, which I feel, I get it, you don't have to know every single intricate detail, but I feel like you should have a baseline knowledge of understanding the story, the characters themselves. He actually barely understands Michael and Trevor as characters. He thinks Trevor is just an insane lunatic who does whatever he wants whenever he wants, which is so clearly shown to be false throughout the entire game. And yet the literal voice actor and motion capture actor who works on the entire game side by side with Stephen Hawking, the guy who acted as Trevor, still believes that Trevor is just insane and has no capability to think and just acts on his anger and emotions, which is just so far from the truth. And from someone who worked on the game, who read the same script, who acted with the same guy, and was in more takes, who should be the person with, or at least one of the people with the most intricate knowledge of the characters, seems to have such a flawed understanding of the story that it is laughable. The average person has probably the exact same level of knowledge as Ned Luke, and I feel that shouldn't be the case, especially when you're friends with Dark Viper EU. Friends with Dark Viper EU. But he's watched the lore videos, presumably not just Michael's, and yet he still fails to understand Trevor as a character fundamentally. So, sure, it can be played as jokes. Sure, a lot of the time he is joking, but he does genuinely believe that, and I feel that is very clear. So, Ned Luke has no clue on the fundamentals of this story. He understands it a bit, he interacts with people online, he knows all the famous lines obviously, but he seems to not understand the character of Trevor, and has a very, at the bare minimum, flawed understanding of the character of Michael that he plays. Yeah, that's going to do it for this video. Please don't murder me and my family because I insulted Ned Luke slightly because he doesn't understand the fundamentals of the GT5 lore, and, you know, that's okay, you know, like, you cannot expect just an actor to fully understand everything, but I feel I can expect him to have a bit more of a better understanding of the story and the fundamentals of the character that he plays, and the character he probably spends the most time around, other than Franklin, obviously. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video, and yeah, please don't come for me or my family.